Ladies and gentlemen, I am Tosh Berman. I'm here for ARTBOOK, D.A.P, and I'm here to discuss Cecil Beaton's Bright Young Things, which is a collection of photographs by Beaton on the bright young things. So you open the book, first thing you get is this, then you get that, and then you get wow. And then the book sort of starts. This is a very interesting aspect of Cecil Beaton's bathroom wall. Each guest comes in, traces their hand, and then autograph that hand. So Beaton has a wall full of hands with their signatures. The bright young things. What in the hell is bright young things, you're thinking? Well, the bright young things were a group of aristocrats, fashion connoisseur people, young people, who very much like to go out to party, love taking drugs, love drinking, love staying up late all night, and having the most outlandish costume parties imaginable. They're sort of decadent. And the beauty of it was that they were all wealthy. They're all aristocratic. They're all from the upper crust of British society. And Cecil Beaton, who was part of this group, was also the person who documented this group quite heavily. He was a photographer, a great photographer. He worked doing various types of fashion. He worked for like Vogue magazine, and some other British fashion-orientated publications. But Beaton is like one of my favorite photographers of all time for various reasons. And what's interesting, before I even opened this book, I thought, okay, it's going to be a collection of photographs by Beaton, obviously, of the bright young things, obviously. But what I didn't expect was Robin Muir's text. It's actually a book of text as well as a book of photographs, even though it's an oversized coffee table-sized book. It's really a fascinating history. And what Muir did was, besides curate the show, this is part of an exhibition that's taking place in England, hopefully now. We have a virus issue, so not sure how the exhibit is affected or not. But nevertheless, we do have this catalog. And Muir writes about Cecil Beaton greatly and very much in detail about his role in the bright young things in their world. And again, Beaton was part of this world. But again, he was from a working class family world, a working class society, who wanted to be in the upper class. Beaton, of course, was gay, and he basically just wanted to embrace the gay aspect of social life as much as possible. And he was a very ambitious person. He was a hard worker. Most of the bright young things were not hard workers. Again, they spent their time taking drugs, drinking, and partying as much as possible. That was their work. Beaton's work was doing that with them, but mostly to document them. He was like their historian of sorts. And what's fascinating about this particular book, and this is what sort of blows my mind, is that Robin Muir writes about each member of the bright young things. Now, Bright Young Things is not like a membership club where they had like a secret password or anything. It's basically talking about a certain generation of aristocrats, pretty much a decadent group of people. And Beaton document this scene by doing like studio portraits of these people. And we're going to show you examples throughout the book. But what's fascinating is that how Beaton sort of becomes part of this group. He sort of had to become part of this group to be accepted in a sense. And it's very strange to talk about a book like this in such highly political times we live in now. Because this is the ultimate white privilege culture. Make no mistake about it. There's definitely traces of Black American culture, that like jazz music, and there are a couple of personalities. But mostly it's a white privilege, royalty, aristocrat. And Beaton's take on it is quite fascinating. One of Cecil Beaton's best friends was a gentleman by the name of Stephen Tennant. And Stephen Tennant was a person who was very beautiful looking, very fey. He was like 6'2", very prominently dressed, sometimes outlandishly dressed, yet his main role in life was as a muse. Stephen Tennant didn't do anything. He basically stayed in bed all day till he went out to party later with the bright young things. But he is the ultimate symbol of the bright young things. In the sense, like Sid Vicious became the symbol of the punk rock movement, or punk rock. Maybe not the perfect person for that role model, but nevertheless, Stephen Tennant is the essential bright young thing. And Cecil Beaton took numerous photographs of him that's throughout the book. But it's also like the Milford sisters and Edith Sitwell and her family are quite displayed in this book as well as part of the group. And it's fascinating how much literature and art has come from this movement. And Robin Moore has done a book where he, in each chapter, talks about each social grouping involved with the bright young things. So you're getting very much specific information about each grouping as well as each individual. And, you know, on one level you think how frivolous these people are. There's drink, drugs, sex, wearing the most outlandish costumes, doing the most ridiculous things around London. Yet they did produce art. They did produce a culture of sorts. And what this book makes me want to do is actually study each individual, get their book they wrote, or the art they painted, or the poetry they wrote, and study more on this. This is sort of like an eye-opening reference book that it's a gift that keeps on giving. It's a remarkable, remarkable book. This is the best book on the subject matter ever. And I have read quite a few books, including the Cecil Beaton Diaries, a biography on Stephen Tennant. But this book is the ultimate book on the bright young things. The other book that sort of came out by the same publisher is Cecil Beaton's cocktail book, which is it's a nice book. It has cocktail recipes, some Cecil Beaton photographs. These are the drinks they were drinking, they were getting totally bombed out on. It's interesting. This is like a perfect gift book for somebody who drinks a lot, who likes to go out drinking, and it's very much of a she type of book. Good for the local drunk, you know. I would appreciate this. For the true connoisseur, the genius book. My favorite book of this season, by far. It's wonderful. And this is Tosh Berman for ARTBOOK D.A.P. and you as well. Thank you so much.